victory. Santignan in the air, deep right field, home run. In the air into center field, a diving catch by Hallie Santignan.
That's the first pitch she gets. Santignan does it again!
Welcome back to In the Box with me. I'm your host, Hallie Santignan. This is episode 2, and today here with me we have Morgan Medford. Morgan Medford.
Hello.
Tell a little bit about who you are.
My name is Morgan. I play softball here at Tarleton with Hallie. I'm a sophomore in the classroom, but a freshman on the field because, COVID. But, yeah.
All right. Me and Morgan are teammates. We've been teammates for almost 2 full years now. We're besties. We're going to be living together next year. So we're just going to jump right into it. This is going to be the first episode where we, really hit some juice, all right? So today we're talking about mental health within college athletes. Not talked about enough, hardly at all. They put 1 month on Twitter about it. They make a couple posts. So, Morgan, I'm going to just start straight up and ask you some questions. When you were going through the recruiting process, did anybody ever mention to you about how mentally taxing college softball was?
Not really. Everyone just said, oh, yeah, it's hard, but, I love it. And it's I always thought it was just, the workouts were hard and, the practices were hard. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I've been through hard practices. I've been through hard workouts. So I was like, I'll be fine. But, nobody tells you that you are tired all the time. Yeah. Something that I struggled with last year was, I was like, oh, I'm tired today at practice. But on game day, I'll be good. I won't be tired. And then game day comes, and I'm just as tired as I was at practice. I'm like, oh, God. I don't know how to, I don't know how to function.
How to handle it.
I don't know how to push through that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. Nobody tells you the mental side. They always say oh yeah, the workouts are hard. But no, none of the mental toll that it takes.
I agree. And I don't know if that goes back to our coaches are obviously older than us. When we're in high school and stuff and we're kids, it makes you kind of wonder was it as hard for them? Most coaches when you're playing intense travel ball where you're recruiting all the time or getting recruited all the time. You have high-level coaches. They've played college baseball if they were men, college softball if they were women, It makes me wonder, I wonder if they went through that too when they were in college and just, as the years have gone on and how more intense college athletics have gotten, if it's become more of an issue now than it was then, especially with, social media and stuff. That definitely helps too. It definitely plays in a part. So obviously, this is a yes, but tell me about how your mental health has been affected by college softball so far.
Some days, it's day to day. Sometimes I base, my performance off of how I feel that day. And I don't know, some days it's really great, some days it's not great, some days I feel like I'm just completely worthless, and then other days I'm on cloud 9. So, it's day to day. I don't know, because, whenever you're a college athlete, especially at this level, you're a high-level athlete. You have to perform well if you want your spot or whatever. So, it's kind of difficult whenever you put that much pressure on yourself every single day. Because, I am personally a perfectionist when it comes to softball specifically because that's just what I've grown up doing my entire life. So, yeah, I just hate that sometimes how my day is going is dependent on if I do well at practice that day.
Yeah, it, completely reflects. You can have a practice at noon and just have a terrible practice and it affects the rest of your day, And on top of practice, you have school to worry about too, So, it is that's a huge challenge. And not only just with how the game affects you mentally, but college softball especially, and I'm sure it's the same across the board with all athletics, tears you down mentally, puts you through depression, gives you anxiety. I don't know if I've ever met a college athlete that's just yep, I'm 100% mentally stable. Like, I
Yeah.
love my life 100% all the time because that is not a thing.
No.
No way is that a thing. I personally felt the pressure of that my sophomore year of college. That's whenever I was at my old school also. And then, but I also had a lot of other things playing into factor. My sophomore year, I had an awful experience coaching staff-wise. I had a good team with good teammates, not like the best, but wasn't terrible. I mean, I love most of them to death still to this day, but especially getting into going through like the transfer process, that will put you into a depression and just give you some anxiety like I've never experienced before.
Oh yeah, it's like, what if I leave and like I'm just as unhappy, but now I don't have my friends? Like, yeah. It's like,
Oh yeah, that was the most stressful, most anxious thing I've ever been through. I've never experienced anxiety before until then. Have you ever felt like depression, like straight up caused by softball?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's just a combination with like some days, like there would be some weeks where I have a bunch of assignments due and I don't do well on some of them, and then softball's not going good, and then it's like I feel like I don't have a social life right now because I'm so busy with school and softball. Like, it's just like I sit in my bed, I'm like, am I good at anything? Like, what is the point of this? Like, if I'm gonna be so awful at both things, like why? You know, it's just.
Yeah, it makes your mind start running like, why am I here? What am I doing to myself? Why am I putting myself through this? And then you just have to go back to, I dreamt about this. I've been dreaming about this since I was a little kid. And then you're like, oh, this is right where I wanted to be. But they don't tell you what it's like being where you want to be. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely hit some depression pretty hard last year, especially with like the whole COVID shutdown.
Same.
Bad depression. And I'd never felt like depression before, other than like, oh, I'm sad today. Like, that's different. I'm saying like depressed. Last year was tough.
Yeah, something that like I struggled with as well. Like whenever COVID hit, season got canceled and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know who I am. Like, I was in like major identity crisis. Like, I was like, I don't know who I am. It's like I had put my entire life into softball and it got ripped away just like that. And I didn't know who I was. Like, I was so lost, but like, it's just, I don't know. That's the lowest I think I've ever been when it came to softball and sports. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do with my life? And like, I feel like that I learned from that because like I know I'm not gonna be able to play softball forever. Like, I've got my 3.5 years left.
Right.
So like, I think that helped me in a way, but like, it sucks that I had to go through that to get to where I am. To like know that it's okay if I don't perform well sometimes. People are still going to like me. Definitely. Like, that was something I've struggled with my whole life, basically, so.
Definitely. Like she was saying, like going through like the whole like identity crisis after COVID shut down, I definitely felt that too. It almost made me like not want to play again because I was going through, like I went through that heartbreak that you look forward to but not look forward to, you know, like you look at it that day, like I've played my last softball game, you look at that kind of like in a distance, it's in the back of your head, all years of playing college softball, you know, you're sitting there going like, oh, like it's gonna be done one day, like it'll be done one day. But I feel like after the COVID shutdown, is like it just was like, oh, here, I know it's been like you have 4 more years till this hits you, but boom, here it is, congratulations, like you weren't expecting it, but here it is. It's a huge identity crisis. So like I definitely went through that. I was like, well, I've already gone through this heartbreak, I've felt the grief of it and gotten over it. At the end of it, I was almost like, why do I want to go play for 2 years, if even 2 years, you know, well, now it will be 2 years, but at the time we didn't know if we were going to get the extra year. So it's like, why would I want to go back and play 1 more year just to go through all of this again? That's taken me months to get over. But I'm glad I'm back now, hindsight. But at the time, you know, it's so mentally exhausting and just so much that nobody lets you know about. All right, let's move on. This is where the juice hits.
Oh God.
How has the athletic staff helped or addressed mental health personally, other than just like little posts on Twitter and stuff like that?
I know there's certain days when like you're off, you know, like, and you can tell like when somebody's having an off day, especially when you're with them every single day for all year long, you know. The way that some of the coaching staff handles it is not my favorite, just because they kind of like attack you. They're like, what's wrong with you today? Instead of like, hey, like, is something going on? You know, it's like the approach, like, I like how they notice that something is wrong with you, but like the approach and like the way that they handle it is not like, if somebody comes up to me and is like, what's wrong with you today? I'm not going to want to open up, you know, like, I'm not going to want to say, well, I have some stuff going on at home, or like, I'm really stressed out about school, I have a big test, like, or I'm just really struggling with softball right now, I can't seem to figure out anything, you know, I can't figure out my swing, I can't do this. But like, if somebody just comes and attacks me and it's like, what's wrong with you today? Why are you acting like that? Then that makes me shut down more, I feel like. I don't know. It's just, I appreciate the concern, but the way that it is.
But it's like, are they actually concerned, or are they just like trying to be like,
or being
is
like
it my
nosy?
fault that you're sad today?
Yeah.
Did you not sleep last night? That's my favorite, is whenever they attack us about sleep, but then they keep us at practice for 6 hours and then expect us to get up for weights at 6 a.m. the next morning, and we still have to do homework. Why aren't you getting enough sleep? That's one of my favorites, in the fall especially. It's not a huge thing in the spring, but the fall for sure. How much coverage is done on a national level for struggling athletes, to your knowledge?
Hardly any. Like, I know that there's like former college athletes that will come out with like an article of some sort, but like there's none. Like, I don't see, like, you know, like there's like the mental health month or whatever you were talking about earlier. Like, NCAA posts about that, and then that's it. Like, are y'all gonna implement anything? Like,
y'all gonna actually check on us?
They're gonna be like, mental health matters, and then what are we doing to make sure that your athletes aren't like mentally struggling? Like, you're all gonna go through struggles, like everybody does, you know. But what is there any sort of like protocol or like any sort of anything to be like, hey, we know your mental health matters, post on Instagram. Like, thank you so much. I'm still depressed.
I liked the tweet. That's gonna help my mental health.
Yep.
I liked
I reposted it on my story on Instagram. Mental health matters.
It's like, I know I've heard things of like bigger D1s having like counselors for their athletes. Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. And I think that it shouldn't just be something that like SEC, like Big 10, Big 12, all of them should have. I feel like that should be something that is required among every division, every conference, like no matter what. Because it's huge. It's not just the big D1s that go through mental health problems. Like, it's all of us. And I don't know. That's just something I really feel strongly about. Because personally, last year, I was going through some stuff during season, and it really got me mentally, like I was talking about earlier. And I was seeing a counselor, and just to talk about softball and just how it reacts with me in school and everything else, you know. And once the COVID shut down, that was the only time the coaches ever said anything about our mental health. Yeah. The coaches were like, oh, well, they're going to do a little, like, support group in the gym this day at this time. And did you go to one? No, I know a few of the girls did. I wasn't sure if you did. But he was like this message if you're interested in going. And I know almost the whole team probably liked the message. And I don't even remember seeing a text saying, like, it's this time at this place. So the next time a few of us got together, they were like, oh, we went to that support circle thing. And I was like, oh, wish I knew when it was, because I would have really enjoyed to go to that. But they only had like 3. So like, what is that gonna do? Like, yes, COVID was going on, but like Zoom was a thing. Like, it could have extended onto Zoom. Because at that point too, the counselors at the school weren't running anymore because school was shut down.
Yeah, I didn't really like that idea because like I didn't want to talk about things in front of other people. People that I didn't know. Like if I'm talking one-on-one with a counselor who's like certified, like that's perfectly okay with me. But like I didn't feel comfortable opening up in front of like 5 to 6 other people. Like even if they were my teammates, like I just don't feel comfortable doing that personally.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't like going and sitting into like a counseling session and having other people there listening to my stuff too. Like that's something I want confidential between me and the counselor.
Yeah.
Let her do her job fully, singularly.
Yeah.
All right. What is your opinion on what you think could be done better for NCAA and individual universities for their athletes? I guess I kind of covered that, but
I think like counseling should be talked about more. Like I don't know, like unless you are absolutely like having a mental breakdown in front of the coaches at practice, like then they'll be like, well, do you think you need to go talk to someone? But like I feel like it should be like initially like, hey, this is going to be a grind. It's going to be tough. You are going to break. Like it's okay to break. Here are some resources for you if that happens to you sooner rather than later or whatever. Like it should be very like open and like I don't know, like it should be talked about more. It shouldn't be something like, oh, she's sad today, she needs to go talk to somebody, you know, like it should be like, you know, openly talked about.
I agree. I think that there should be like mental health checks like regularly, especially during the off season. Off season I feel like puts more mental strain on you than season does, honestly. Just you're going through so much more physical distress with training every single day almost, or 5 days a week, intensely though, like way more intensely, like not even with softball but just, you know, strength and conditioning stuff on top of school. But yeah, I definitely think that they should have like mental health checks, and not just with the coaches. I think that there's a boundary that you have with your coaches. Like I couldn't sit down, like go to my coach and sit down and like have a full-on like counseling session with them. Yeah. Like I would be crossing a line. I feel like I don't want to play pity party, I feel like, with my coaches. And I also feel like if to a degree they look at that as weak, or I feel like that's the persona they put off, you know, like, oh, you got to be mentally tough. Like, yes, that only goes so far though.
Yeah. That's definitely difficult. Like I know like you just put a lot of strain on your body and a lot of strain on your mind, and like at some point it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot for somebody to handle, especially if you're a freshman. Or I mean, personally, I haven't even been through an entire season yet, and like it's been tough just to try and manage all of that. So yeah,
definitely. How many college athletes do you think struggle with mental health?
99%. I wouldn't say 100%. 98%.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a good go at it too.
Because like one way or another, like they are anxious or depressed or both, you know, like sometimes you got the double whammy, but you know, people that are mentally stable and are college athletes, I don't think I've ever met anybody that way. It's to a certain degree too. It's not everybody is like
majorly depressed
or majorly anxious, but like there to a certain degree, certain things trigger those like symptoms, I guess.
Right.
Symptoms of anxiety and symptoms of depression, you know.
Yeah, and it's not even like anxiety and depression. Like we'll step aside from that for a minute. What about like a little bit of body image stuff too?
Oh
that
my
comes
gosh.
with female athletes.
Let's open that conversation.
Yeah, let's open that door.
There's a lot of things. It's like, oh, you need to eat more. You need to, like, personally for me, it's like, you need to eat more. You need to gain weight. And it's like, I look at myself in the mirror and, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to gain weight. Like, I like the way my body looks. And then I do start gaining that weight over the fall because we're gaining muscle. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like the number on the scale. I don't like having to send my meals in because I feel like I'm a failure if I eat bad. You know, like, I feel like a lot of female athletes struggle with, like, eating disorders and, like, disordered eating, you know, and body dysmorphia, definitely. Like, you look at the big Division I's and they have, it looks like they all have the perfect body, and then you look at yourself and you're like, why can't I look like that?
Yeah.
Or you look at like the people that don't play sports and they just go to the gym twice a week and then they look great, and you're like, why can't I look like that at the beach? You know, it's just, there's a lot that goes through your head. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge thing, especially for young girls trying to get recruited, because some people like myself don't bloom, which, I mean, I'm not by any means big at all. Like, I'm a little guy, you know. I'm a little guy, and little guys like me getting recruited. I remember going to, like, the college softball camp. It's like a few day long camp, and there's so many college coaches out there. I remember a girl one time, it was like a little question and answer with coaches and a couple college players. I was probably a freshman in high school, maybe a sophomore. But I just remember this girl from Harvard, and she was a big old girl, like, hitting nukes. You could tell. You didn't even have to see her swing a bat, but, like, she was not fat in any way. She was strong and muscular and just a big athlete, you know. And she got up there and she spoke about it, actually. She was like, parents, like, let your kids work out, let your kids eat more, like, let your kids do this and that, talking about gaining weight. And she's pretty much sitting there telling this group of probably 500 girls, eat more, get big, go to college, play softball. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, maybe 100 pounds. I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to do that. Like, I work out. I did CrossFit for like 2-3 years straight when I was in high school, just trying to get bigger, because, you know, you watch the CrossFit games online and stuff, and you're like, oh, those girls are big. Like, if I do CrossFit, I'm gonna get big.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I gotta get in CrossFit. I gotta be taking all these supplements. Like, I gotta get big, or I'm not going to college to play softball. And that should not be a thing. Like, if you're strong and you're healthy, it doesn't matter what the heck you look like. If you're getting your job done on the field, it doesn't matter what the heck you look like. If you're being healthy to yourself, like if you're eating the calories you need to keep yourself sustained, doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah, that's something that I've really struggled with, because, like, my whole life I've been tiny. Like, I'm look at that, like, I'm tiny. And my dad's always like, oh, you need to eat more, and I never gained weight. It was just, like, gradual because I got taller. But, like, now that it's a little easier for me to gain weight in college, that's why I've been struggling with, like, that type of thing, because it is a little bit easier and I don't look the same as I did in high school. Like, nobody ever looks the same, you know?
Definitely.
But, like, I don't know, it just gets easier for me to gain weight, and I'm like, I don't know if I like that or not.
Right.
But I'm like, but I hit the ball further, but, like, and I might be a little faster, and I lift heavy in the weight room. Like, it's always a back and forth. Like, what? Like, she looks like that in a bikini, but, like, can she lift as much as I can? Like, it's just, comparison will be the death of anybody.
Yeah, for sure. It is definitely a comparing game, because now with, like, TikTok and stuff, you like one workout video and they're all coming up, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that girl looks great. Oh, that girl looks great. Oh, she has a 6-pack and a perfect little hourglass figure. And I'm over here with a square core that I cannot do anything about. Like, it doesn't matter. No matter what, my core will always be a square. And that's just something you just gotta, like, live with. I mean, it sucks for now, but while you're in college and you're working out like this, gotta be built like this. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people definitely struggle with that for sure. So now we're going to get into a little bit. Now that we have talked about all this and run through all this information with firsthand from 2 college athletes, I'm in my 4th year of college softball. So I've been around the block, you know. Morgan is halfway through. She's newer, but she's still gone through the roughs, you know.
Yeah.
So how about when I looked up on the internet and did some digging too? It wasn't just like the first click on Google. Studies showed that only 10% of college athletes suffer from mental health. 10%.
That, I bet 10% are the ones that go and get help. I bet only 10% get help because nobody, like, we're obviously not included in that statistic because our coaches don't.
Nobody asked me.
No. Nobody asked me. I didn't get to fill out a survey.
Right.
Like, but I feel like that's probably the people that get help and the people that are really bad. Because I feel like some people already have that mental health issue and then before they even get to college athletics, and then they get there and it is on a steady decline. And yeah, I feel like that is not right.
That's like putting like 10 people on our team and putting them out there. I mean, like, only one of you struggle with any mental health issues. I don't know if I can think, like, honestly, not in a bad way by any means. Maybe, I don't know if anybody on the team straight up right now I could be like, no, they're 100% mentally stable. No mental problems at all. They're 100% confident in themselves all the time with their softball abilities. They do not struggle mentally from softball or school. I don't know if I could.
I'm trying to think too.
Not in a bad way by any means, because it's just, it is what it is. It's almost like something that's like, be prepared for it and get help. That's the thing. Last year, whenever I started going to the counselor, oh my gosh, I was playing so well just because I was going out on the field and I was like, all this weight on me that I've just been holding in because all this crap I've been struggling with, it was like lifted off me. I was playing so well. And then that's right whenever COVID shut down. So, you know, it's fine. But, you know, like, just get help. Yeah, do you have anything else that you want to add? Any stories, anything. It doesn't matter, anything. Anything I didn't cover.
I don't know. I really liked how you brought up like body image, especially in female athletes.
Yeah, I feel like we could talk about that for a while.
Yeah, because like I know that like there's like those body positivity people on like TikTok and Twitter, and it's like body positive, but like they haven't worked out in 5 years and like they just eat whatever they want. Like that's not body positive. Like body positive to me is like for a woman is like a woman who is strong, who doesn't like, she might have a big body type, but she is strong and she eats right and she does what she needs to do to take care of her body. And like it does, like just because she's a bigger girl, she is still strong and like can do that, like nourishes her body, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Big boned, you know, air quotes, big boned girls, you know, that are bigger, like those bigger athletes that hit nukes all the time.
Yeah.
Those big girls, they eat right, they're working out all the time with their sport, of course. Mm-hmm. Though they're bigger and they're not going to look the same in a bikini as all these TikTok models and everything else, you know, all these influencers. They're not going to look like them in a bikini, but I feel like that's more empowering, like being strong and healthy and still being big. Like, I dig that. I think that's awesome. Like, if you're positive in yourself with that, that's awesome. But they probably don't feel the same way about that. Yeah. Not all of them.
I don't know if you know who Danielle Lowry is. Do you know who that is?
I don't think so, no.
She pitched at Washington in 2009. She won the national championship. I follow her on social media and whatnot. And she is very body positive. Like, she's like, this body has got me through 2-hour workouts. This body has got me through an entire Women's College World Series. This body got me through this and this and this. Like, I nourished this body to get there. And like, she's not a small girl, you know, especially now that she's older, and she does play professional softball. So, I just, a lot of her posts are like, I don't know if you ever like saw the Lauren Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Like she was
the
like
Sports Illustrated
posing naked. She was like, this body is strong and powerful. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Like, this body got me through so much. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the women that do that are awesome as well, which I obviously cannot be a huge spokesperson for that because I cannot gain weight to save my life, actually. I took weight gain supplements over the summer because I had shoulder surgery over the summer. It's like I was dropping my muscle mass like crazy. But I'll drop weight quick, but it is so hard for me to get that back. I was 15 pounds heavier last year before I had surgery than I am now because, you know, I skipped the whole fall pretty much of workouts. So that sucked. But, yeah, I can commend those girls, the bigger girls that are so positive with that. And it's crazy, like, that body did so much more than these fit Instagram models and all that are going to do. Like, they could never.
Yeah.
Could never.
Give me the big girl who is strong over the Instagram model. Put those two up against each other in anything. I bet you can guess who's going to win. Like, who's gonna have more endurance? Who's going to lift more? Who's going to do this, this, and this? Like, just because you don't look the part doesn't mean that you aren't the part. Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, I think the body image with the mental health side of things is huge too. I didn't even have that written down actually.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that came into my head because that could go so far. There's actually an old volleyball player. Golly, I cannot remember her name for the life of me. But she actually did a TED Talk on mental health, not like just a few years ago, and she's really big on TikTok for like body positivity, and she's awesome. She's like, she'll post, she'll be like, oh, you want that Snicker bar right there? Eat that Snicker bar. Like, it's gonna make you feel good. Like, you're gonna enjoy that Snicker bar. It doesn't matter what it's gonna do to your body, cause like you're powerful. Like, it doesn't matter. But she actually went through a lot of stuff while she was playing volleyball. I want to say, I'm going to butcher it. I'm not going to try. It was a red school. I know that. She played volleyball, D1 volleyball for a red school. But she ended up getting, like, super down, like, depressed and stuff, just with pretty much everything we've talked about today. And she actually went up to her coach and was like, I need a mental health day. Like, a mental health day, I need it, or I'm going to shut down. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And she said that her coach was really, really open about it, and also to the other players as well, not just her personally. But her coach was open to it, and whenever the girls would come up to him and be like, I am struggling with this, this, and this, I need a mental health day, like, he would give it to him. And I think that is awesome. Mm-hmm. I feel like not a lot of coaches could do that by any means.
Yeah. What you said earlier about it's being perceived as weak, I think that makes you, like, bold to be like, I need to be okay. I need a day to make myself okay so I can perform at a high level, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it is perceived as weak, but at some point, like, you cannot be okay all the time. If you're okay all the time, you are a robot. Like,
yeah, definitely, you are a robot. That's a good way to put that.
Like, it's okay to not be okay, but whenever you have to learn how to take care of yourself, and then get back to being okay. You know, it's a cycle, but you just have to know when you need a break. Like, I need to take a step back and chill out and just lay in bed all day if that makes you happy. If being productive, doing something other than your sport makes you happy. I know I like doing that. I did all my laundry today. I cleaned the entire dorm. Like, I had a really productive day. I got to work out outside of softball, you know, like, that just, I like having productive days, so.
Yeah, that's definitely a productive day for me too. Like, our off days, I don't like to lay in bed all day because then I feel like I just wasted the day. And I try to do something outside, like build something or clean something. Like, it's so nice to just clean something and be like, a little victory. But yeah, take care of your mental health, people. Morgan, thank you
Thanks for having me.
being on here today. I mean, it's probably scary for you a little bit.
I was a little nervous, but
Yeah,
I'm chilling now.
a little nervous. Just having a conversation. Yeah, so I just want to leave y'all here with try to stay mentally healthy and do your best to stay on top of that game, because you have to feed your mind and rest your mind just like you rest your body. It's your body's a machine as well as your mind, and if you don't rest your mind like you rest your body, you're not going to perform how you need to perform when it's time to perform. Oh, quote that and put that on my grave when I die. That was good. All right, so thank y'all for listening to episode 2 of In the Box. I hope that this episode was better than the first one, and we're getting better every time. But I'm going to leave y'all with this little hotline that's available 24/7 in case y'all are ever just feeling like you need to talk about your mental health. And that number is 1-800-273-8255. We will see you next time on In the Box with me, Hallie Santignan. And again, thank you, Morgan Medford.
Thank you.